guys, Dave with Fitness Technology again. So today's video is going to be changing a walk belt on a Nordictrack. So I haven't really done this in a long time. I've been doing more sole lately. So I'm going to kind of have to go through this with you and we'll learn together. What I normally use is something to mark my rollers, just like I did on the Nordictrack. You'll need a Phillips. You'll need an Allen wrench to adjust the rear roller bolt with. If you're going to remove the front roller, which you have to, you need 2 7/16 on this particular model. You could have one adjustable, but I try and get things done fast. I may actually need a pry bar because some of these side rails on these units are stapled down and you can't screw it out. So just in case, I'm going to find that out when I get to it. Here are my screws to put the side rail back down. Don't know if I'll need that yet. We'll kind of discover that together. Alright, so I'm not speeding anything up on this video. It's going to be real time because I don't know what to speed up. Alright, so there's my tools. I'm going to put everything away. I'm going to go to the back here and remove these end caps. So the first thing I guess the best advice would be, I should always say this, turn your machine off. Then I will go to the back here and I will remove these end caps. This is where our rear roller is hiding. Now I know these are screwed in, so I'll get my drill out because it turns it faster than my screwdriver. Alright, so there's one. Screw's already out of that, so that's one step less. Sometimes there's a screw right in here too, but not in this case. So that's out there. This one doesn't have a screw in here. Doesn't have a screw up there. So that's pretty easy. So I got all the screws removed. Now we're going to have to lower this thing back down. Alright, and in all my belt change videos, I really like to mark where the rollers are rather than just count the amount of screws that it turns. Alright, so center of the roller right here, little mark right there, center of the roller on this side, little mark right there. Now I can go ahead and take this off really without counting them and having to worry about getting it back right. So unfortunately I don't have a power drill for this size Allen, so I have to do this by hand. Almost done on that side. We'll go over here. Spin it a few times. A few more times this side. Probably could take it all out at once, but I like to kind of counterbalance things a little bit. On one side, then the other. Helps keep the screws from binding up, having any issues, so we're going to put them right here. Looks like my roller slid underneath the walking belt, so I'll pick that up. There's our roller. Put that back right there. Next thing we're going to need to do is we're going to remove this track right here. Alright. So sometimes this is a piece that's stapled down. So let's see what we got here. And it looks like it has been screwed down. So that's perfect. I won't even have to use my little screws. Alright. So we got to move this cap right here. I'm sure you can see that. Although it's no big deal. Now I'm just going to remove these screws right down along here. Again, this was originally stapled. So this belt's been changed before. So if this was still stapled, you would have to get inside here and pry it up. That would be the purpose of this, but we don't need it, so I'm going to leave it over there. Alright, now we're going to take this off, put that outside the camera view. Alright, so the next thing we got to do is we got to remove this front roller. So I'm going to need my 2 wrenches for that. They're 7/16. Yours might be different. Oh, I need to mark that. So I'm just going to mark that really quick with this. Just a little scratch. I don't know what I did with my marker, but anyway, I'm impatient, and all I need to do is scratch it so I know where to center it back to, alright? So, we're going to hold this one in place. Loosen the set nut here. That where I don't lose it. Can't be turned by hand, so this will kill me because I don't have an automatic ratchet for that, but I'll live through it. Let's see if I can get it as quickly as possible. I would sing to you guys, I'm afraid that'd be too enjoyable, so, or too horrifying, as the case may be. I'm not good at being quiet, you can't tell. I don't know why, but I'm not a quiet working dude. I have lots of customers that state I'm there more for entertainment than work. They only feel that way if their job goes smooth and the machine gets repaired right. Alright, so we're going to put that right there. There's our nut and bolt. This is now loose. So the next thing we got to do is we've got to remove these mounting screws right here. So let's see if they're in really tight, or if my drill can pull them out. Oh, that's just too nice. How about the back one? Ah, so nice. Alright, that means this should lift up. Oh, boy, it doesn't always work like that with old machines. Alright, so you notice I haven't done anything with the front roller, so I'm just going to slip that out like this, just pull it, and then it will come loose. I'm going to work it back off the motor. Alright. Now at this point it's the same as every other machine. I just have to lift this up, create enough space. Now this belt's still good, so I'm actually just going to take this off and put it back on. Alright. Here like this. Come over here like this. Pull this out. Voila! And so to install it, just do the opposite. No, I'm just kidding with you. Alright, so now I am going to have to do just the opposite. So the belt's off. This belt's in pretty good shape. Really see any bad wear. I amped this machine earlier, so it doesn't really need the belt. So this is strictly for video purposes. So it's going to go back on. Alright? So I'm going to lift it up, see how much play I got in that. Put this underneath here like this. This machine does not have any support bars underneath of it, so you don't have anything that you have to worry about getting in your way. Just slide that rascal back on there like so. Alright. I do believe this one was up front. I'm going to put this one back first. Well, I'll only need my glasses for that. Alright. That's not going back perfect. Look at that. Let's see what that deal is. You find me something to poke down in there, so I'm going to use this small Allen wrench. We'll use it to find a hole. Much better. Alright, so we're going to go back here and put this one in. Alright, there we go. Same thing. Looks like it's off a little bit. So what I'll do is I'll just... I guess I have to do it all over again. This one looks like the frame kind of wobbles a little bit when you first get it out. If that happens, you're going to have to pull it back just a little. There, that's a little better. Now this one had a bolt on the other side of it. I didn't even realize it. It came out so smooth. So I'm going to put that back in there. At least I think I am. Come on, I can usually do this stuff by braille. Come on. Alright, so the nut that's on the bottom of that screw is now tightened. Alright? So then we're going to start putting our rollers back. See how nice and slick this is? That's another way you can tell if your belt's not worn out. If your belt's worn out, it'll be very tough to push back and forth. But on this Nordictrack machine, that is pretty lickety-split. I don't know why I said that. I guess smooth. Look at that. I sat on my marking tool. Not surprised. Alright. So now I'm going to place the front roller back in. I'm going to take the motor belt off. I'm going to put it on the front roller. Alright. I am not going to completely tighten that back yet. Ready to pull up a little bit. Push this inside of here. So once I got the front roller adjustment bolt through the hole, I stop. I don't line it up yet because I don't like to have too much tension when I put the rear roller in. So we're going to put the front one in. Not to its set point yet, but just kind of in loosely. Then we're going to go back to the rear and we are going to install our rear roller back to our markings. Alright. And this is really an old style way of doing this where your roller just floats. Normally there would be a little bracket on your machine. If it's newer, this is probably a 20-year-old model. But it happens to be what I have to work with today. So it's going to be what we use. So that's a good sign. When you can spin them in by hand, you can see the roller head's old and rusty. But I don't care about any of that, and neither should you. Alright, so that's good enough to balance it. Now let's start turning it back. And again, the reason why I put these marks on it, it doesn't mean it's going to go back exactly where you think it's going to go back. Especially if you're using a newer belt. The newer belts aren't stretched yet, so it might be a little further in than your marking, but this is just to give you a general idea. So it's not as much work when you go to put it back, alright? So I'm going to go back up to the front up here. Alright. I'll put this back hook marking. I guess in this particular case to its scratch mark. Okay. Tighten the set nut down. And the reason why I did all this before I put the motor belt back on is because it's nice to have a little tension on this to help walk the motor belt on. And I'll show you that in just 1 second. Alright, so let's get it nice and straight. Alright, go over here to the motor. So when putting the motor belt on, a lot of times these motors are adjustable by a slide mount. This one is an old-fashioned type that actually works like an alternator on the car. So I didn't adjust this at all. I'm hoping I can get away with not doing it. So what I usually do is I put the motor belt down here like this, and then I put the motor belt on the motor first, then I start it on the pulley, and just walk them both. And that's the reason why I do the walk belt first, so I can use this as leverage to push it on. Oh, also I forgot to mention in the beginning that I didn't do a video on this one on removing the hood because I already have that. So if you need to see how to remove the hood, because Nordictrack's got like 6 different ways of doing that. So that's another video. Alright, I just went straight to the belt with the hood already off. Alright, so now we're getting ready, we're getting pretty completed here. Our screws are back in. So we're going to take our slide rail. Now this I am going to cheat. No need to take up your time. Watch me put all the screws back. And our screw holes back up. It's tough to do when you're old. There we go. There we go. So that's back in the original hole. I guess I put 2 of them on it. So depending on how your side rail's mounted, you might have to get some screws yourself. That's the only thing that usually doesn't come with it. Let's put this little front cap back on. But in theory, you're pretty much done. This is the bulk of the job. Okay? Now let's get our rear stuff back over here like so. Alright. And some models, the generation before this, actually doesn't even have this on it. You can see the screws exposed. So when you see that, it is what it is. You just have to pry those off and put new screws on. They don't have this on it. This was even though this is an old model, it's newer than the other generation right before it. So you're just going to slide that sucker right up there. Stops right there. It doesn't matter too much. You can see it's got a little play. Alright. So I'm going to assume my marks are pretty correct. I'm not even going to turn it on and check it until after I put my caps back on. So we're going to lift it back up. Start with this cap right here. Now, this screw went in here, but I personally think this screw is more important, so I'm going to put it in here. Probably doesn't make any difference, actually. Oh, wait a minute, I might be wrong on that. Did that go? Aha! It's all one screw. So there's a lesson to learn right off the bat. I told you I was going to be doing it with you. This screw is actually that screw. So they do a dual hole purpose. Look at that. Alright. This one didn't have a screw in it, so it's kind of hard to put the screw back in. But there's supposed to be a screw in there. Alright. Loosen that one a little bit. I hate when screws want to be mean to me, but they always go. So we're going to put that right there. I'm going to lower this back down. Now, something I always advise doing before you turn it back on, especially on these older Nordictrack, walk on it for a couple of seconds. I'm just going to push it for a minute just to make sure it doesn't coast really fast and really far one way or the other. But I'd have to say that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and turn it on and see what our results are. And start. And there you go, a completed job. Belt's still nice and centered. I didn't have to count the screws to see how this is flexible. You can move that a little bit. So that's really it for today. I really like doing these videos. I do really appreciate all the support you guys have been giving me. I'm going to be coming up with the Horizon line next. I got to get a newer Nordictrack so I can do newer Nordictrack videos. But in general, that's about what a Nordictrack belt is. Alright? Thanks so much for viewing. Looking forward to doing another video for you. Thanks a lot. Oh, please subscribe.